Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading from Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 3, titled Status Quo, Chapter 33, Activities of Kapila. I'm on text 28. Taddeha parata posho Pyakrishashchadya sambhavat Babao maler avichana Saduma eva pavakaha Taddeha parata posho Pyakrishashchadya sambhavat Babao maler avichana Sudama eva pavakaha Taddeha parata posho Yakrishashchadya sambhavat Prabhamale avachana Suduma eva pavakaha. Okay, please chant.
Taddeha parata posho Yakrishashchadya sambhavat Babao malaya vachana Sadumna eva pavakaha Taddeha parata posho Yakrishashchadya sambhavat Babao malaya vachana Saduma eva pavakaha. Taddeha parata posho Yakrishashchadya sambhavat Babao malaya vachana Saduma eva pavakaha. Taddeha parata posho Yakrishashchadya sambhavat Babao malaya vachana Saduma eva pavakaha. Taddeha parata posho Yakrishashchadya sambhavat Babao malaya vachana Saduma eva pavakaha. Taddeha parata posho Yakrishashchadya sambhavat Sadumaya Pavakaha.
Okay, word by word by word translation. Tatdehaha,
Tadehaha,
her body.
her body.
Parataha,
Parataha,
by others.
by others.
The damsels created by Kardama.
The damsels created by Kardama.
Poshaha,
Loshaha,
maintained.
maintained.
Api,
Api,
although.
although.
Akushaha,
Akushaha,
not thin.
nothing.
Cha,
Cha,
and.
and.
Adi,
Adi,
anxiety.
anxiety.
Asambhavat,
Sambhavat,
from not occurring.
from not occurring.
Babel,
Bhaval,
shown.
shown.
Malai,
Malai,
by dust. Vavachana,
Channa,
covered.
covered.
Sadumaha,
Sadumaha,
surrounded with smoke.
surrounded with smoke.
Eva,
Eva,
like.
like.
Pavakaha,
Pavakaha,
a fire. Translation. Her body was being taken care of by the spiritual damsels created by her husband, Kardama. And since she had no mental anxieties at that time, her body did not become thin. She appeared just like a fire surrounded by smoke. Purport. Because she was always in trance and transcendental bliss, the thought of the personality of Godhead was always carefully fixed in her mind. She did not become thin, for she was taken care of by the celestial maidservants created by her husband. It is said, according to Ayurvedic medical science, that if one is free from anxieties, he generally becomes fat. Devahuti, being situated in Krishna consciousness, had no mental anxieties, and therefore her body did not become thin. It is customary in the renounced order of life that one should not take any service from a servant or a maid. But Devahuti was being served by the celestial maidservants. This may appear to be against the spiritual concept of life, but just as fire is still beautiful even when surrounded by smoke, she looked completely pure, although it seemed that she was living in a luxurious way. So I'll just read one more verse and purport. Swangam tapo yogamayam mukta kesham katambaram daiva guptam nabu bude vasudeva pavishtadi. Because she was always absorbed in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she was not aware that her hair was sometimes loosened or her garments were disarrayed. Purport. In this verse, the word Daiva Guptam, protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very significant. Once one surrenders unto the service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord takes charge of the maintenance of the devotee's body. There is no need of anxiety for its protection. It is said in the second chapter, second canto of the srimadbhagavatam, that a fully surrendered soul has no anxiety about the maintenance of his body. The Supreme Lord takes care of the maintenance of the innumerable species of bodies. Therefore, one who fully engages in his service will not go unprotected by the Supreme Lord. Devahuti was naturally unmindful of the protection of her body, which was being taken care of by the Supreme Person. Om Vijnanitibirandasya Gananchana Shalakaya Chakshunamadatamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vakam Kativachavam Pankam Langaite Girim Yakibatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Diditaridam Vancha Kapadrivishcha Kipa Sindhabevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are gradually coming to the end of third canto. We're just a few verses away, probably another one or two classes. And the last few verses we've been hearing about how, first of all, Kardama Muni, he left home, which husband of Devahuti, and then Kapila Dev left, Kapila Muni left, and now Devahuti, she is alone at her, well, not exactly alone. Here it said she's being served by maid servants, but her husband and her son has left. And it's been, Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam, verses and purports, been describing her transcendental realizations, how she's becoming more and more detached, and all these different wonderful things that's being described here. So, so yeah, this is the, you could say, the point of human form of life that, as was being mentioned in previous classes, that the point of the human form of life is to engage in austerity, to engage in not just any type of austerity, because everybody's engaged in austerity more or less, but specifically tapo divyam. That's what Lord Rishabhadev says in the 5th canto. He says, what is that? How does it go? Nayam deho deha bhajam niloke kashtan karman arhate vid bhujame tapo divyam putra kanyena sattvam Shuddhe Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. So he's saying that, instructing his sons that don't live like dogs and hogs who eat all types of abominable things, but engage in divine austerity, tapo divyam. And by this austerity, one will rise to the platform of Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam, the unlimited happiness in relation to Krishna, Krishna consciousness. So, so yeah, this is the idea that to engage in tapo divyam, divine austerity. So many, I mean, we wake up at 4, or a little before 4, or maybe 2, or whenever we wake up early in the morning. So that is an austerity. Many people don't like doing that. They like staying, they like waking up later. Whatever, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, noon, right? Like Prabhupada says, I listened to one lecture, he said that, said, yeah, people are very accustomed to sleep, you know, they'll sleep till whatever, noon time. So, so yeah, that's an austerity. One family recently, she brought, they may be listening, but she brought her kids to Mangalarti. And her girl is, I think she's 9, and her son's 13. So, and you know, it was their first time to Mangalarti, and they live about an hour away, so they had to get up quite early to make it here on time. And usually the little girl, she's quite, you know, you could say lively and, you know, friendly and jolly, you know. And then when I came here down the morning, I saw her, because, you know, whatever, I speak with them when they come to the temple, and I waved. I said, oh, good morning, you know, like that. And she just kind of gave me this look like, oh, like she didn't say anything. Like, she was just quiet, you know. She didn't look too happy. And later I was speaking with her mother. It was Indrani. Those of you who know her. And Janak, the boy. But I was speaking with her mother, and her mother was telling me that Indrani was saying, oh, why can't they have that morning program at 10 a.m. in the morning? You know, she's saying that. It's like it's too early. And I said, well, and I was telling her mom, I said, well, anyways, maybe later when she comes a little older, it'll be easy for her to wake up, and even then, I mean, but we'll see. So yeah, but this is austerity that we engage in, waking up early, and different austerities. What to speak of spreading Krishna consciousness? That's quite an austerity, actually, because one, it's difficult for people to it's difficult to give Krishna consciousness to people. Why? Because people don't want it. A lot of people. Once Prabhupada said that said that preaching in the age of Kali is like feeding medicine to a horse. Said that it takes, if you're feeding a horse, anyways, that's what Prabhupada said. It said that you have to have 4 people holding the legs and 1 people feeding the medicine. So it's very difficult. But you know, if we're selling, I don't know, like devotees in SanDiego here at least, they sell these rocket ramas. No rocket rama, right? So whatever, it's just some cheap toy from India, and you know, it's illuminated, and it's like slingshot, and you throw it up into, you sling it up into the air, and then it gradually comes down. So if you're selling those, you'll make whatever. How much? I would not approve 150 a night or 200 or.
Yeah, on a good season here, that's correct. At a show, you could do $10,000, $4,000 a state fair.
So yeah, if you're selling a cheap thing like that, then people are very interested. People are very enlivened by that. But you're selling transcendental knowledge, books, then a little less. So yes, that's an austerity. And then what to speak of when somebody actually comes, to Krishna consciousness, because it's not just over when you give them a book or something like that, but when you come to Krishna consciousness, the person has to be taken care of, and they have to be trained, and they have to be educated, and all these different things. It's like you're raising a baby almost. Really, because they don't know anything. Baby means they don't know anything. And we'll have a seminar today by Devaki Mataji. So it's from 1 to 5. So she'll help us in in this idea of taking care of devotees. It's a seminar on devotee care. So. Although it's difficult, she'll give us some tips, how to do that. So yeah, this is what Devi Huti's been showing us within the Bhagavatam how to engage in austerity in the proper way. And interesting enough is that when one engages in austerity, because austerity means like heat, fire, it means you're willingly putting yourself into an uncomfortable situation. That's what it means. But interesting enough is that from austerity, what happens? It's being explained here. All of our mental anxiety disappeared. It was all gone. So people think that by not engaging in austerity, or by engaging in austerity for sense gratification or materialistic pursuits, they will be satisfied, they'll be free from anxiety. But life shows that that's not the case. Like within America, for example, within so many countries of the world, materialistic countries, leading materialistic countries, people are engaging in austerity for sense gratification, for purpose of materialism, but they're not free from anxiety. And statistics will tell us that. Some devotees coming from other countries, I remember Tirthamaraj, I guess somehow or other where he came from, people seemed a little bit more happy, but when he came to America, he said that he was shocked actually to look around and see how miserable people look. It's very interesting. So by engaging in austerity, we will actually become happy. So therefore, we should try to engage in austerity. We should engage in austerity. And in this way, we could elevate ourselves beyond the realm of materialistic consciousness. We could elevate ourselves. And that is actually very important because as we see, there are so many species of life that they do not have the ability, they do not have the brain, they do not have the body to do this. like one, I don't know exactly know why, but one fellow, I think, anyways, I'm not sure who he is, but he sends packages to the temple quite often, to this temple, and they're like these little pamphlets. Maybe, yeah. They're little pamphlets. It's like why to be vegan. Anyways, I looked at one that he sent the other day, and yeah, they have all these different reasons, and they show all these, what they do to chickens, what they do to pigs and cows, and different things like that. I don't want to go into detail because it's quite bad what they do, and it will convince people to give up meat eating, which is good. But I mean, I was looking at a picture of a hog there, and it showed a picture of a hog and how he's in the cage, and they're mistreating him, and it just looked horrible, right? And then it showed a picture how one of the hogs were saved, and he was laying there, and there's a human by him, and she was rubbing his belly, and he had a big smile on his face, and it was. But of course, it's good to save animals. But the point is, it's okay. A hog is a hog. A hog is a lowly creature that has no ability, he has no ability to rationally think, to meditate, do any of these types of things. The only ability the hog has is to enjoy like a hog does and suffer like a hog does. That's it. Like in Vrindavan, we're in Vrindavan, maybe a year ago or something like that, and the hogs, we were walking around Govardhan, and there was like a, I don't know, what do you call it, like a big canal of just mud and sewage and just nasty. And, what is it? No, yeah, kitchery for him, yeah. So, and he was there, the hog was there, and he was looking, it was like in hog heaven, it was like a hot day, and he was just kind of hanging out there, Or like one devotee was giving a class in Vrindavan, he said that sometimes it becomes so hot in Vrindavan, not sometimes, every summer, it becomes super hot. And, like how hot does it get? You were there, right? Yeah, 130 degrees. Yeah. Yeah. So it's 130 degrees, it's really hot. So the hogs, or dogs, or whoever, what they do is, there's a canal of whatever, sewage and all that, and it's cooling, So what they do is, because it's so hot, they go there and they sit in it, and then they cool themselves off. And they say, oh, this, and within themselves saying, oh, this is great, I'm feeling satisfied. So, in reality, I mean, there is no difference, and if a human has their other ways of, feeling that relief. But in reality, it's the same. It's all nasty, actually. And Prabhupada was very open about this point. I mean, he would write to their face. I mean, of course, devotees say that, okay, you got to be careful, We have to be careful in what we say and who we say it, when we say it. But Prabhupada would, he was here at USD. This is one of the main universities here in SanDiego. There's 3, UCSD, SDSU, and USD. So Prabhupada is at USD. It's a private college. And he and Bhaktidas, who helped one of the main persons starting up SanDiego Yatra, he was there, he brought Prabhupada there, and Prabhupada was going to speak before a whole bunch of religious people, whatever, Catholics and professors and this and that, bishops and whoever they were. And then Prabhupada started the talk off in a very challenging way. He said, "So I understand there's a saying that you are what you eat." And he said, and I understand within the Western countries they eat a lot of hogs. And then Bhaktidas said he was, because, I mean, all of them were eating meat, I'm sure, practically. Maybe there's a few who weren't, but Bhaktidas said he was sitting there and he said he couldn't believe what Prabhupada just said. And he said that he was so shocked, and he said that was the last thing I would ever say, you know. And he said that he didn't hear the rest of the talk. He was just like completely shocked from what Prabhupada said, you know. And also Prabhupada, he was in India, and he had a person who was becoming a life member, as Mr. Seti in Juhu. So Prabhupada asked him, I think he was at his house, maybe he was staying there or something, but Prabhupada said, "So what do you do when you get up in the morning?" And then this Mr. Seti said, "Well, I get up, I drink a cup of coffee, I read the newspaper, and then I go off to work." And then Prabhupada told him, he said, "Okay." He said, "So what's the difference between you and a hog?" That's what he told him. Right. And and from that, actually, whatever, Prabhupada preached on and on like that. And he actually became a really great devotee and helped out with building the Juhu temple in so many ways. So, so Prabhupada would stress this point over and over and over again. We have to rise beyond the basic animal necessities of life as our only concern, right? And we have to become God conscious. We have to become Krishna conscious, and that happens by austerity, not by sense gratification. So, and the beautiful thing about Krishna consciousness is that Krishna is a person, and aside from that, he's a person who cares, and he's a person who supremely cares about us, and he protects us. He protects us. So all of our necessities, anything we need, he'll provide. So this is the wonderful thing. And you know, sometimes devotees growing up in the West, growing up in America and so on, you know, they come to Krishna consciousness, or we come to Krishna consciousness with these, you could say, preconceived ideas of God. Like I was listening to a lecture by Sonas Tamal Krishna Goswami recently, and he was explaining that how he was in Los Angeles, and he was invited by a Baptist church to speak at the church somehow. So Maharaj spoke there, and they really liked it. You know, they really enjoyed the talk, and you know, they had a really good time. And you know, they went up to him and said, you know, "Hey brother, maybe we could go to your church, or maybe we could go to your temple." And Tamal Krishna goes, "Yeah, please come." And this particular Baptist preacher, he was saying that how no one can really describe God, like what he looks like. And you want to know why? I think Mukunda's been listening to this lately, but anyone want to guess why or know why? That you can't why one reason you can't describe God?
I don't know what this guy said. They often say it's beyond words,
Yeah.
beyond form, beyond concept.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he was saying, which was in the same light, but he was saying that God is so big, like so big, that no one could like stand far away to see him. That's what the guy was saying. So,
Get the full picture.
yeah, no one could get the full picture. He's so big, you know. So, so anyways, but still, somehow they liked Tamal Krishna Goswami, and they all came to the temple, to the LA temple. Not the Watsaka temple, the other one before that. So, so they walked in and they attended the kirtan and everything, and then they saw the deities. And then it was just like, they were all just shocked. Like, what on earth? What's going on here? The deities? And because you know all devotees offering obeisances and dancing before the deities and prayers and all that. So they just couldn't grasp that. So then Maharaj went up to them afterwards, and he tried to explain to them. You know, it's recorded in scripture what God looks like. He appears in the deity form, all these different. But he said they were just shaking their heads like this. Excuse me, this is unbelievable. They couldn't grasp that. So yeah, it is you could say challenge the idea of a deity, and maybe devotees get past that. Hopefully, right? Devotees will get past that. I mean, there's one devotee. He said that as soon as he walked into the temple and he saw the deity, he was just, all these like Bible verses were going through his mind, like, oh, you know, don't worship, but what is it? Yeah, don't worship graven image and idol, and he was, this all just was going through his mind the whole time he was in the kirtan. And then also, I think in the Bible it said something about not repeating the same words or something like that, you know. So he was, all these Bible verses. He actually became a devotee, became initiated. It was Jadu Thakur. So yeah, we may get past that, but also there's other things we need to get past. Like other, you could say, misconceptions of God, misconceptions of God, that yeah, he's just, whatever, Bajranayan song says, smiting and smoting and you know, punishing people, and like, yes, there is laws of karma, yes, there are hellish planets, all these, you know, all these reincarnation. But when it comes down to it, Krishna is an ocean of mercy. He is an ocean of mercy. And one of the characteristics about an ocean is that the measure of you cannot measure the content of the ocean. No one has done that, right? They measure whatever, but they can't measure the content of the ocean. So the mercy of the spiritual master is, you can't measure it, and Krishna, you can't measure it. So they're very kind. So it's not that we, you know, like we're worshiping Krishna out of fear, like, oh, if I don't worship Krishna or whatever, I'm going to go to hell or whatever, these different things. It's a misconception. I mean, that's a level, but it's a low level of religion. So Krishna, he doesn't want us to be, you know, he doesn't want us to, he wants us to have darshan of him. He wants to have darshan of us. He wants a relationship. It's not that, you know, he's so big that we can't even see him. He wants to get close and develop that relationship based on a loving relationship, not fear. And when this takes place, then yeah, we're fully satisfied. We are happy. We are content. And if it doesn't take place, then yeah, we're not happy. We're not content. We're not fully satisfied. There's always a void within our heart. Like I was talking with some guests at the Krishna Lounge we have on Thursday nights. There's a few young people from New York, a few girls, a few guys, and I was talking with them. And one of them, she said, because I saw on her cell phone she had a picture of a dog. And I said, oh, you got the dog there. And then she said, oh yeah, that's my dog, and I absolutely love him. She said, you want to see a few pictures of him? And I said, okay, you know, and she was showing me. And she said, that the dog is in my heart, you know. No, she said, the dog is my heart. And I was going, whoa, okay, wow, this is pretty dramatic, you know, the dog is my heart. And I told her, I said, you must have more room in your heart than just that dog. You know, your heart must be bigger than just having that dog there. And then she kind of thought about it, and she was quiet. So, but you could say the void's there in her heart, and she's trying to fill it. Put a dog or whatever, you know, someone to fill that void. So the idea is that we want to awaken Krishna consciousness within us, We want to become devotees again. And in this way, our hearts, the void is full of Krishna, right? But in order to do that, we have to, there's so many desires within our heart, so the idea is we have to get rid of all those, and the only desire is to be Krishna conscious, to serve Krishna. So in other words, our desire for Krishna consciousness has become so big, so strong, that it pushes all the other desires out. And there's no room for them. So that's the point, there's no room for them. So we want to, you could say, evict all these material desires, get rid of them, and then the desire for pure devotional service, the real desires are there. And in this way, yes, we're satisfied, we're happy, and we'll actually be in the midst of such great personalities as Devahuti. There'll no longer be distance from, there will no longer be a distance between us and them. In other words, sometimes it's like, yeah, Krishna's here, but he seems far away. In other words, if we're in Maya, then Krishna he might be standing right here, but he's very far away. Just like we have a bunch of neighbors, Krishna's right here, but to them, unfortunately, they're millions of miles away. So if we practice austerity and do all these different things that are being recommended in these verses in the Bhagavatam, then the distance between us and Krishna becomes less and less and less and less. And also the distance between us and devotees become less and less and less. So all become, say, united in spiritual life. So I'll stop there. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say? Yes, Bhajanaran Swami.
I just had a quick comment. Just about Tamal Krishna Maharaj. That was the La Cienega temple. And when I first started coming, people from that congregation used to come to the temple just to hear Tamal speak.
Okay.
One of them told me, he said, that man could talk a hungry dog out of a pork chop. and the devotees used to joke that Tamal Krishna Maharaj could stop time if he wanted to. He was a very powerful speaker, wonderful devotee. But, you were talking about Prabhupada's quite blunt statement one time.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes. And because I want to say some cautionary, but, there's another man, you can hear it on tape, it's in Mumbai, Bombay, and the man is talking, it's a young man, he's talking about his father. His father started with nothing and built up the company and purchased this house, and that they were all living by the grace of their father, which is good. The son recognized and appreciated, okay, that's all well and good. But the guy kept going on and on, you can hear on the tape, and he just can't hear it. Probably saying, oh, my father, and the business, and I've got to carry on the business, and for my son and my he can't hear it. So Prabhupada finally says to him, and where is your father now? And the man's a little flummoxed, he doesn't know what to say. And Prabhupada said, because he was so attached to building this house, he may be a cockroach in the commode living in your bathroom. Can you imagine how heavy that is? And the man was shocked. But the result was that Prabhupada snapped him, snapped him out of his loop. He was like stuck on a loop. Prabhupada snapped him. And the man, you can tell by the questions that he actually kind of got what Prabhupada was talking about. But Prabhupada was also heavy. I don't want to tell the whole story, but in Los Angeles on a radio show. And the man was quite sarcastic. The newspaper, said, what would happen if everyone became Krishna conscious, and why do you shave your head? Prabhupada, because a lady was helping him. Prabhupada said, why do you shave your leg? The guy said, I think that this, you think this world is flat. Prabhupada said, everywhere I walk it is. So, well, why don't you go back to India? The death rate is so high in India. Prabhupada said, death rate the same everywhere, 100%. So, but the guy was very sarcastic. And when the man finally said, what was it? said it is the special dispensation for old men and little children. They can go anywhere and say anything. So, you know, a little kid walks into the women's bathroom, I mean, nobody minds, you know. Oh, he's just looking for his mother or something. Or a little kid says something outrageous. Oh, isn't he cute? But you say that at 40 years old, they'll punch your teeth out. So I just don't want the devotees thinking that, oh, this is preaching. And Prabhupada knew. Prabhupada could sense, and I saw it sitting in Prabhupada's room again and again. Usually he was the most cordial, accommodating, you know, just warmed them up. And sometimes he could be like a surgeon. He'd just go right in there and let them have it. And because he was experienced, and on a spiritual level, he could understand. So I just don't want the brahmacharis to go out and think this means preaching. Hey, you're a dog, hog, camel, and ass. Prabhupada can do that, but that's not really our preaching platform. I mean, sometimes you have to say it, and it's great. But, you know.
Yes.
It takes expertise.
Yeah, when Prabhupada first met I think it's Alfred Ford, right? Ambarish Prabhu. It's like the first meeting, maybe it's second meeting, I'm not sure, but the devotee said, "Oh, Prabhupada, this is Alfred Ford. He's the great grandson of Henry Ford. So the great grandson of Henry Ford." And Prabhupada said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Where's your grandfather now?" And that was his. So yeah. Oh yeah, about the. No, you tell it better. I actually don't know that one. I know of it.
I don't want to interrupt your point. You finish your point, but he said, and again, because Prabhupada could understand the audience, he could understand, and he knew where he wanted to go, he knew where the conversation was going. He was expert. So Prabhupada said to Ambarish, said, "I knew one man who blindfolded could." Prabhupada said, "I know one joke about Ford," and Ambarish loved it. And so Prabhupada said, "This man blindfolded could guess the name of a car by its sound." So the man was standing by the side of the road with his friends, blindfolded. First car, and then said, "Ambassador," and he was right. Next car, Chevrolet, he was right. The next thing to go by was an old car. The man was selling used pots and pans, and they were tied on the side. So you can imagine the sound of the donkey had a bell, So it goes by making, and the man said, "Ford!" And Ambarish just busted up. And the thing that and Ambarish said that all of my life I've never known who my real friends were, because people were always flattering me because I've got money, or I could fly into, ski at our house in Vail or whatever, So he never knew who his real friends were. He said, but Prabhupada didn't care that he had a ton of money or that he was Alfred Ford. He said Prabhupada went right to his heart. So it actually challenged Prabhupada. You have to be expert.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so does anyone have any other questions or comments? Okay.
I was just trying to help you get across the line.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bhagavatam 2, 9, 33 through 36, with translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srimadbhagavatam 2, 9, 33. Ahamevassamevagre nanyadyat sadasatparam paschadaham miretacha yo vishishcheta sosmyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Purport. We should note very carefully that the personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis himself, pointing out that it is he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation, it is he only who maintains the creation, and that it is he only who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Brahma is also a creation of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist puts forth the theory of oneness in the sense that Brahma, also being the same principle of I because he is an emanation from the I, the absolute truth, is identical with the Lord, the principle of I, and that there is thus nothing more than the principle of I, as explained in this verse. Accepting the argument of the impersonalist, it is to be admitted that the Lord is the creator I, and that the Brahma is the created I. Therefore, there is a difference between the two I's, namely the predominator I and the predominated I. Therefore, there are still two I's, even accepting the argument of the impersonalist. But we must note carefully that these two I's are accepted in the Vedic literature, Kathopanishad, in the sense of quality. The Kathopanishad says, Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one, because both of them are nityas and chetanas. But the singular I is the creator I, and the created I's are of plural number, because there are many I's like Brahma and those generated by Brahma. It is the simple truth. The Father creates or begets a son, and the Son also creates many other sons, and all of them may be one as human beings, but at the same time, from the Father, the Son and the grandsons are all different. The Son cannot take the place of the Father, nor can the grandsons. Simultaneously, the Father, the Son, and the grandson are one and different also. As human beings, they are one, but as relativities, they are different. Therefore, the relativities of the Creator and the created, or the predominator and the predominated, have been differentiated in the Vedas by saying that the predominator I is the feeder of the predominated I's, and thus there is a vast difference between the two principles of I. In another feature of this verse, no one can deny the personalities of both the Lord and Brahma. Therefore, in the ultimate issue, both the predominator and predominated are persons. This conclusion refutes the conclusion of the impersonalist that in the ultimate issue, everything is impersonal. This impersonal feature stressed by the less intelligent impersonalist school is refuted by pointing out that the predominator I is the absolute truth, and that he is a person. The predominated I, Brahma, is also a person, but he is not the absolute. For realization of oneself in spiritual psychology, it may be convenient to assume oneself to be the same principle as the absolute truth, but there is always the difference of the predominated and the predominator, as clearly pointed out here in this verse, which is grossly misused by the impersonalists. Brahma is factually seeing face to face his predominator Lord, who exists in his transcendental eternal form, even after the annihilation of the material creation. The form of the Lord, as seen by Brahma, existed before the creation of Brahma, and the material manifestation with all the ingredients and agents of material creation are also energetic expansions of the Lord. And after the exhibition of the Lord's energy comes to a close, what remains is the same personality of Godhead. Therefore, the form of the Lord exists in all circumstances of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. The Vedic hymns confirm this fact in the statement Vasudevo Vahidam Agra Asin Na Brahma Na Cha Shankara Eko Narayana Asin Na Brahma Neshana, etc. Before the creation there was none except Vasudeva. There was neither Brahma nor Shankara. Only Narayan was there and no one else, neither Brahma nor Ishana. Sripad Shankaracharya also confirms in his comments on the Bhagavad Gita that Narayan, or the personality of Godhead, is transcendental to all creation, but that the whole creation is the product of avyakta. Therefore, the difference between the created and the creator is always there, although both the creator and created are of the same quality. The other feature of the statement is that the supreme truth is Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead and his kingdom have already been explained. The kingdom of Godhead is not void as conceived by the impersonalists. The Vaikuntha planets are full of transcendental variegatedness, including the four-handed residents of those planets, with great opulence of wealth and prosperity. And there are even airplanes and other amenities required for high-grade personalities. Therefore, the personality of Godhead exists before the creation, and he exists with all transcendental variegatedness in the Vaikuntha lokas. The Vaikuntha lokas, also accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as being of the Sanatan nature, are not annihilated even after the annihilation of the manifested cosmos. Those transcendental planets are of a different nature altogether, and that nature is not subjected to the rules and regulations of material creation, maintenance, or annihilation. The existence of the personality of Godhead implies the existence of the Vaikuntha lokas, as the existence of a king implies the existence of a kingdom. In various places in srimadbhagavatam and in other revealed scriptures, the existence of the personality of Godhead is mentioned. For example, at srimadbhagavatam 2.8.10, Maharaj Parikshit asks, Sachapi yatro purusho vishvastit yudbhavapyayaha muktvatma mayam mayesha sete sabhagohashayaha. How does the personality of Godhead, the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, who is always freed from the influence of the illusory energy and is the controller of the same, lie in everyone's heart? Similar also is the question of Viduras, Tatvanam bhagavans tesham katida patisankramaha tatremam kahupasiran kahusvidnanusherate.